garden, Peteress and Princess, Kings Hill, Bethlehem and Oak Place, Coble, Jealousy and Cahoon, they banded together to reach Western before noon. So long in slavery, so long control me, take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, get slavery out of the way. Fed up and they're frustrated. It's high time that this slavery be done with. Tired and suffering, they plan to do something like fire and brimstone, man, see how they imagine. So long in slavery, so long control me, take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, we get slavery out of the way. With mashers, lantern and bow stick, they come into port and to the bullwhip. They might make up, enough is enough. They come into call and throw the big club. So long in slavery, so long control me, take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, we'll get slavery out of the way. And my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, we'll get slavery out of the way. garden, Peteress and Princess, Kingsley, Bethlehem and Douglas, Coble, jealousy and gloom. They banded together to reach Western before noon. So long in slavery, so long control me. Take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation's here. Get slavery out of the way. Fed up and they're frustrated. It's high time that this slavery done with. Tired and suffering, they plan to do something like fire and brimstone, man, see how they imagine. So long in slavery, so long control me. Take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, get slavery out of the way.
Yo, what is up and what is going on? It's your boy Makida, the historian, coming to you with another stream for the Democracy Briefing. Shout out to everybody that comes through. Please smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I am on the road to 500 subscribers and getting partially monetized. I'm really trying to hit this goal. If you feel like donating to the channel, I pinned the link with my Zelle information right there. So please donate if you have that on your heart. If you don't, I still appreciate you for pulling up. Either which way. But please, like I said, once again, smash that like button and subscribe, man. I appreciate everybody that comes through. So, starting off the show, my brother AC, I'm doing this stream a little bit earlier than usual. I'm off of work today, so thankfully I had a little bit of time. I had more time, as well as I have the time to start it at 3 o'clock instead of 5. So when my brother AC pulls up, he'll pull up. Or if he doesn't, I totally understand. This is a bit off of my usual time schedule that I usually do this for. But I just want to say, once again, salute to everybody pulling up through. The song I just played was by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Butthole, which is a just great song that talks about great history of my people and my ancestors on this island. I'm gonna go into explaining that just briefly. Today is Emancipation Day in the Virgin Islands, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It is July 3rd. The history of this day goes back to July 2nd, I believe, in 1840, when General Buttle, a sugar boiler on LaGrange Plantation in Fredericksburg, which is on the west side of my island, St. Croix, he organized a bloodless slave revolt. At the time, we were and salute to my girl VK Bay. Thank you for pulling up, my number one supporter. I appreciate you so much, Bay. Always letting me post my links in your chat and always coming through, smashing the like button for me. I appreciate you. But talking about this day, this is such an amazing and historical and instrumental day in my people's history. My people, specifically just this island, has a deep history of resistance to tyranny and colonialization. Salute to Chaco Kitty in the chat. Thank you for coming through, Chaco Kitty. When Christopher Columbus arrived on the island of St. Croix, the first thing that he was greeted by were arrows by the Kalinago people and the Taínos. They made it clear that this was their island and they were going to fight and die for it. And then later, when they realized they couldn't fight off the colonizers, they had a mass suicide event because they would not submit to tyranny and slavery and, and colonization and domination. This day, July 3rd, General Butto, also known as Moses Gottlieb, organized a bloodless revolt against the Danish colonizers and authorities on the island of St. Croix. Um, Let me just pull up this photo right here. This is a photo of a statue we have in Frederiksted Town. This is of General Butto, and what you see here, he has a conch shell in his mouth. And on the day of the revolt, he went around to every plantation on the island and he blew this conch shell. And the organizers of the revolts that he recruited, they got the enslaved people together, and they all marched. And they marched with whips, machetes, torches in their hands. They didn't assault anybody. They didn't kill anybody. Like I said, it was a bloodless revolt. And they marched and they surrounded Fort Frederick, which is in the west. Now it's called Fort Frederiksted. And the planning for this event goes so in depth because General Butto had spies implanted in the Danish authorities, because at the time, the Danish authorities, they had these black people of elevated status that they called, I believe they called them royals. And General Butto implanted his own spies within those ranks. And they managed to confiscate the gunpowder of the Danish soldiers. So when 9,000 black people who were pissed, angry, and who wanted to end slavery showed up, they had nothing to fight with. And it was a complete strategic victory for General Butto, who forced emancipation on Governor von Scholten, who made it clear, not only on the island of St. Croix, but on St. Thomas and St. John, slavery in the United States Virgin Islands, at least in practice and in name, was over forever. Now, slavery wouldn't necessarily be over after that. What would happen is they would institute basically a new system of slavery where they would pay everybody the same rate. And then you, under the law, a working black man would have to stay on that plantation for an entire year. So everybody was getting paid dirt wages, sweatshop wages, and then you had no collective bargaining power to negotiate your way out of that. So we still had problems after this, but this was a great event. And General Butto, for his efforts, would be arrested and he would be exiled from the Virgin Islands. Nobody really knows what happened to him. We know that he went to Trinidad for a little bit. After that, some people say he went to New York and was organizing with abolitionists. Some people say he died in Grenada. It's not really known. But one thing is for certain, this man, this man Moses Gottlieb, aka General Butto, was not playing with these people, and I just want to honor him today because he is truly an amazing, amazing freedom fighter, and he adds to the rich tapestry of the Virgin Islands ethos of resistance to tyranny. And I could just go on like hero after hero, from General Butto to Admiral Martin, who was a part of this bloodless revolt, to Queen Mary, who in I believe in the 1890s organized a full-on rebellion. This was not a bloodless rebellion. She killed dozens of white plantation farmers and burned down over 50 plantations on the island of St. Croix, and she chased the Danish garrisons into Fort Frederick. I had them trapped there. And I could go into just a whole array from David Hamilton Jackson to oh my gosh, oh my god, I feel so ashamed. We have a Tuskegee Airman that fought against fascism in Europe, and then at the same time was fighting for civil rights at home. So the Virgin Islands has a deep history of resistance, and I want to give honor to this man today. So shout out to General Butto doing what he's doing. Salute to my guy Tommy D in the chat. Salute to Tommy D. Shout out to TD. out there in Cleveland doing his thing. Check out TD Sports Talk. He's going to be covering the fights this weekend. He's doing some great journalism out there for the Abdullah Mason versus Albert Bell card in Cleveland for July 4th. But yeah, July 3rd, it's almost kind of, I don't want to say weird, but it's almost kind of poetic that our Emancipation Day falls right before July 4th, which is the birth of one of the greatest social experiments in history. You know, the birth of something which in principle was meant to be a liberal democracy. You know, July 4th, the day that the US founders told King George to go suck something. Said, give me liberty or give me death, King George. Boy, think you're gonna come over here and tax us? Suck something. And they created their own country, which we currently live in today. So you gotta honor the past, even for all the problems that you might have with the founders, having slaves and not giving women rights and all that great stuff. But either which way, once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Please smash that like button. If you have it on your heart, please share the stream. Once again, your boy Marky Dan is at 446 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 500 so I can get partially monetized. Please do me a huge favor by sharing this stream. And just before we move on and get into the topics, something else which is also on my heart. Pray for this young lady, Sama Safi, but not only pray for her, please contact your congressman. This young lady I have up here on the screen, her name is Sama Safi. She is a United States citizen. I want to make that clear. She is not a Palestinian or a citizen of any of those Arab countries. She is a United States citizen, born and raised over here. And she went to university in the occupied West Bank. And I believe she was studying psychology. And on June 2nd, now 31 days ago, Israeli forces, they say detained, but no, they kidnapped this young lady. And they are currently holding her without any charges. So this is a very scary situation. Israel has a long documented history of sexually abusing Palestinian prisoners. I don't even want to get into some of those things because I want to wish nothing but good thoughts for this young lady, this beautiful, smart young lady who just went over there, probably wanting to make the world a better place. And this is not nobody else's citizen. This is one of ours that they're doing this to. Okay, at this moment, there's no evidence that she's a part of any radical militant groups. She was just a young lady studying who was passionate about her own people and their history over there and felt that what Israel was doing to them in that apartheid state of the West Bank and in Gaza is incorrect and wholly morally bankrupt. And while this young lady is detained in Israeli prisons, probably going through any untold amount of horrors, this is our ambassador to Israel, who just this week bought stolen Palestinian land for $1 and has not said one word about this young lady being kidnapped and detained without charges. So once again, pray for this young lady. If you have the ability to contact your congressman or email them, please do so. This is something that is really on my heart. I pray for this young lady's family, that they get peace through all of this. Through this terrifying times that they're going through. But I'm gonna move on. Let me check the chat. Yeah, salute to everybody in the building. Please smash the like button once again. So the first topic that we're going to get into in this show, Donald Trump and his historic levels of corruption. Historic. We have never seen corruption. We've seen corruption in the history of the United States presidency. Nothing at this level. For all the crap that conservatives cried about Hunter Biden, and all that old other bullshit. Oh, he was getting $50,000 from a Ukrainian gas company. Uh, um, Corruption never seen before, and Biden was getting a piece of that. It was all the Biden crime family. It has now come out in his disclosures, VKB. Donald Trump made $2.2 billion last year in his first year of his second administration. I'm gonna say that one more time. $2.2 billion. Billion dollars. And I just want to say, for reference, Donald Trump's net worth before he became president the first time in 2016, was reportedly from Forbes $3 billion. So he has gained over 3/4 of his net worth in just 1 year of his first year of his second administration. And I have this news report I'm going to play just so y'all can get a more detailed look at it. Then I'm going to comment on that.
And last year, I promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world. And
Donald Trump's annual financial filing showed an eye-popping figure. During his first year back in office, $1.4 billion of income from cryptocurrency ventures. The massive windfall was made possible by the U.S. president's own pro-crypto policies. And Democratic lawmakers, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, are calling out what they say are ill-gotten gains.
The crypto legislation heading to the Senate floor must prevent the president, vice president, senior administration officials, members of Congress and their families from profiting off the crypto industry. If it does not, it will only turbocharge Donald Trump's brazen crypto corruption.
In 2019, Trump said he was not a fan of crypto, saying its value was based on air. However, $635 million of his haul came thanks to royalties from his Trump meme coin, with another $500 million via World Liberty Financial, the crypto company co-founded by his two eldest sons and the son of his top diplomatic envoy, Steve Witkoff. The meme coin, a novelty digital token aimed at the president's diehard base and speculators, was released just prior to his second inauguration and seen its price fall from an initial peak of $45 to less than $2. Customers saw their investment burn, with the president continuing to earn fees on every transaction. In 2025, a company connected to the government of Abu Dhabi bought a 49% stake in World Liberty Financial for $500 million. This was shortly before the Trump administration approved the delivery of thousands of cutting-edge AI microprocessors to the Gulf Emirate. Trump has denied any conflict of interest.
Critics say you're profiting off the presidency.
well, you know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting. If you have a 401k, how's your 401k done? It's about up 85%. Thank you, President Trump.
Cryptocurrencies are not Donald Trump's only sources of income. He has also earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from merchandise marketed to his MAGA base, including Bibles bearing his name. The money is managed by his son while he is in office, but will come back under his control when he leaves the White House.
We have never seen corruption at this level before at all. It's not only corruption, but just crazy levels of corruption. Oh, this is a little breakdown from compiled by the Wall Street Journal of Donald Trump's income in the past year, the $2.2 billion. Like the clip just said, $1.4 billion off of the World Liberty Financial crypto coins, $575 billion from real estate, from those golf courses and hotels that were built over there in the Middle East by the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Qatar because they wanted to suck up to him. Then you have all the royalties and licensing fees. Then you have the $86 million that Donald Trump has gained from suing different media corporations and then threatening to not let their mergers go through. So essentially strong-arming them into donating money into selling and donating him money that he's going to be able to access after he leaves the presidency. Then just outside of this, the level of corruption, this is a chart of how the World Liberty Financial crypto ventures have gone for Donald Trump on the blue line, his organization, and then the red line is the investors, the people that put money into it. So Donald Trump's organization gained $2.29 billion, and Donald Trump profited 50% off of that. And then all the investors lost basically the same amount of money, $2.28 billion. So for every $1 that Donald Trump's World Liberty Financial gained off of the crypto, the investors lost $1. And I don't feel bad for these people because the main people that invested in that dumb crap were Trump supporters. And it's like for you to actually invest in this scam artist, you deserve this. And I'm gonna shit on them. I mean, it's like, and like we tried to tell them. We tried to tell them that the World Liberty Financial coins and the Trump meme coin was a grift. And they said, no, you're just a hater, TDS. Donald Trump's a smart businessman. It's like imagine I'm standing here and Donald Trump is standing right next to me and there's like a curtain in front of a brick wall. And Donald Trump is saying, if you run straight into that, through those curtains, you're going to make millions and millions of dollars. And I'm standing there saying, dude, there's a brick wall behind that curtain. Do not run there. And the dummy that's going to run through the curtains, no, you have TDS. You just have Trump derangement syndrome. You're just a hater. The president wouldn't lead me down that path. And then they run through the curtains and ram their fucking head directly into the wall. And then they walk back from behind the wall with like their head bleeding. They're missing a couple teeth. And I'm not supposed to laugh at them for being such dumbasses. Good for them, like that they lost all that money. But my problem is, this man has to go to jail. There's no way that this man cannot go to jail. Just based on the stock trading act. Which, by the way, this man just last week invested $5 million into a taser company. And then less than a week later, the Homeland Security gave that same taser company a $220 million contract. You're telling me there was no inside trader involved in inside trading involved in that? His son, Donald Trump Jr., had some type of military, had some type of defense, I think it was a drone company. He just started out of thin air in the first year of the presidency. Then less than 6 months later, he gets a $660 million defense contract. Your taxpayer dollars. I really want to know what the founders would say if they saw this bloated orange piece of dog shit. This on top of the fact, Republicans are not doing anything to check this, and I just want to read the Constitution for a second. The Constitution makes clear in the emoluments clause that the president shall receive no emoluments. And for those of you who don't know what an emolument is, an emolument is literally any profit. So the president is not supposed to profit outside of the salary that Congress has set aside for him. And then the MAGA dummies will sit up here and say, well, he gave up his salary of $400,000. So what? Oh, so what if he's making $2.2 billion? He gave up his $400,000 salary. No president's ever done that. Every other president in history. You had Jimmy Carter, who had a very profitable peanut farm, sold his peanut farm. Or you had JFK, Ronald Reagan, who had a very profitable media company. He placed all his assets into a blind trust. That's what the presidents usually do, not this fucking guy. He placed it into a trust, and his kids are the managers. And then he feeds his kids insider information to go do stock trades. His stock assets have ballooned from $200 million when he entered the presidency to now $800 million. You cannot make this level of corruption up. You cannot make it up. And then the Trump MAGA dummies will just say, we don't care. We'll continue to vote for this corrupt, bloated asshole. But let it have been Barack Obama. Let it have been Barack Obama who was profiting this much off of the presidency. They would put Barack Obama's black ass in jail right after they impeached him. So I'm not shocked by any of this. I mean, the guy is who he is. He's always been a corrupt asshole. Salute to my brother BVO Boxing, BVO Sports TV in the chat, doing his thing out there in Cleveland, covering the Abdullah Mason Albert Bell fight and the card. I hope you stay safe out there and get some good content out there, brother. But I'm gonna leave Donnie Boy and his corruption right where it's at. I'm not shocked by any of it. For like the 7th time I've said that. The guy is gonna be the corrupt, bloated asshole that he's always been. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard. For those of you who don't, Donald is not being controlled. Donald is not being controlled. No, Donald is who Donald has always been. Donald is the corrupt, bloated asshole that bankrupted 6 different businesses, including a casino. He's the corrupt, bloated he's the pedophilic, bloated asshole who was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and taking advantage of little girls. Donald is who he's always been. He's always going to look to take advantage. And I mean, we've heard what he said about taking advantage of women by grabbing them, regardless of what they say. I don't doubt that the Z-Force controls him, BBO. But Donald got his own interest. He's about making this bread. He's about making this bread, BBO. Z-Force be damned. And not only that, I mean, the Z-Force chipped in about $400 million to his presidential campaign. So that's why he's so clicked up and cool with the Z-Force boys over there in Israel. But either way, we're going to move on to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, for those of you who don't know, former Democratic congressman, but then she flipped to being a Republican in the name of political expediency, and Donald Trump gave her appointed her to the position of Director of National Intelligence. And in that time, Tulsi Gabbard was an utter and complete embarrassment. We had a situation where last year, literally to start off her tenure as DNI, where a reporter got added to a Signal group chat on WhatsApp, where her and Defense Secretary or War Secretary, whatever the fuck you want to call that guy, Pete Hegseth, were discussing war plans, classified war plans. And as Director of National Intelligence, she couldn't tell that a reporter from the Atlantic was added to the group chat. And then got up in Congress and just lied her ass off the entire time that there was no classified information in the group chat. But either which way, Tulsi Gabbard resigned a couple weeks, literally less than a week ago. She resigned on July 1st, but she announced that she would be resigning back in May, I believe, or back in June, excuse me. And her excuse was, and listen, it could be true, but I highly doubt it at this point. Her excuse was that her husband was going through, I believe, lung cancer, which God bless that man. I don't know him for nothing. I mean, I've heard some things about him in this article I'm going to discuss. I don't wish death or lung cancer on anybody, but hey, these people are scumbags, and karma and the Lord is always going to get them. Just recently, the Washington Post came out with an explosive, just great piece of investigative reporting that Tulsi Gabbard was being controlled by a cult. I'm going to say that one more time. Tulsi Gabbard was being controlled by a cult. Specifically, the guy who I have up here on the right is a guru. I believe his name is Oh my gosh. Oh, his name is slipping my mind right now. Oh, what is his name? What is his name? What is his name? What is his name? Chris Butler. Mr. Chris Butler here on the right, who is a Hindu guru, was sending Tulsi Gabbard through a classified email memos and whatnot, was basically controlling her like a puppet and telling her exactly what to say while she was on different media shows and when she would be going to the floor of the Congress. Now, am I surprised by this? No, because I mean, I look at the Trump people. They're the epitome of cult members. But the level of just like, this dude was like talking to Tulsi like she was a real fucking bitch. Like he would basically tell her things like one quote she has that was in the article basically stated it stated that she was going on a debate panel, I think it was. And no, it was for the presidential debate for 2016. And he stated in the email memo, no matter how much you fuck this up, just know me and Krishna, which is a Hindu god, me and Krishna still love you. So he went in there just beating her to death, telling her that she was gonna fuck the debate up no matter what happens. And I'm gonna play a video, and the Washington Post, they did a great job where they line up a couple of the quotes from the email memos and they line it up to things that Tulsi Gabbard said on TV almost verbatim.
What I'm saying, Greta, is that the most important thing for us as the United States is to remember exactly who our enemy is. It's these Islamic extremist groups like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, and we need to dedicate our resources directly into defeating this enemy. First thing, I think we've got to understand that this is not just about words. It's not just about semantics. It's really about having a real, true understanding of who our enemy is. Osama bin Laden's a perfect example. Multi-millionaire who left his mansions, went and lived in the desert because of this radical ideology that was fueling his actions.
So there you saw it. You saw the quotes from the memos that the Washington Post managed to get their hands on, because somebody from the email memo group broke away and exposed the whole situation. And I'm gonna read a couple of excerpts from the article, which I think are pretty funny. Here it says, a June 2014 memo Hohen emailed Gabbard ahead of a TV appearance was direct. It said, don't forget to smile, etc. Don't do the eye thing. So I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard, I guess, has a thing like with her eye, where her eye twitches. And the article goes on to say, on YouTube, I found a clip of Gabbard on CNN the following day after this email memo. At several points, she opened her eyes wide while speaking. So they had the broad that controlled. Then it goes on to say, the same unnamed speaker who vented about the eye thing also criticized her for seeming insincere, according to the transcript of those remarks. Quote, it's like she's trying to express something artificially. I don't feel anything from her. It's more like kind of like remembering talking points, which is exactly what this broad does. I mean, you should have seen her during that congressional hearing where they were grilling her ass about the leaked group chat classified attack plans on the Houthis, where she was basically just keep repeating the same line. I don't know of any. I don't know. Oh, I didn't see any classified, but refusing to answer. That's who Tulsi Gabbard is. I mean, good-looking broad. I ain't gonna lie to you. I always thought she was kind of a good-looking broad. But this is who she is. She's always been a puppet for different factions and groups. BVO says it's a 2-second conversation. No, BVO, it's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of email memo. I'm just reading like a couple of them. Yes, Vacay Bay. She must still over. Well, okay, I think you're talking to BVO, but yeah. Then they continue to talk about her and the eye thing. They say she's still doing the fucking eye thing while she's on TV. Like they really took this lady apart. I almost feel bad for Tulsi Gabbard, just being honest. Because, like, they really put the screws to her. Further goes on, there here it says, well, from what I saw, she's doing the fucking eye thing again. An unnamed speaker told Hohen later that day, according to a transcript of their conversation, emailed to the reporter Salzberg and others. She's still doing the eye thing. Like, they were just drilling down on Tulsi and her weird fucking eye glitch. So, I just want to say, I'm not surprised. Once again, I'm not surprised. We see people like Mike Johnson, the current Speaker of the House, who, no matter what, Donald Trump could literally tell Mike Johnson that his mother is a whore and tell that broad to go wipe her mouth. He could tell Mike Johnson that, and Mike Johnson will say, oh, well, I didn't see those comments. But, you know, the president, he always means well. You know, he's always just joking and trying to have a good time. I'm not surprised by none of this. And then we had Thomas Massey. This guy BBO said she was high on drugs. Hey, she might have been. She might have been snorting that good dope. That really might have been what was going on at the time. But then we had Thomas Massey, who was one of the few Republicans to sign on the Epstein Files discharge petition. Thomas Massey exposed what goes down in AIPAC on the Republican side. He said that AIPAC Republican congressmen literally stand shoulder to shoulder at these like donor parties, and that they'll have a QR code hung around their neck, and that the donors won't even talk to the congressmen. They'll talk to their AIPAC people, and then if they decide they want to donate to them, they'll just scan the QR code and keep walking. Like, that's the level of fucking, like, I don't know if to call that cult-like behavior or robotic behavior or slavish behavior that our congressmen are dealing with. Or, excuse me, that our congressmen engage in. Just stand there and get scammed, boy. Don't talk to us. I mean, I think it is pretty serious, BBO. I mean, you got your congressmen that you pay, that take your taxpayer dollars, and then they're going backstage and getting their guts blown out by a bunch of people, is getting filmed, and then they're getting blackmailed to vote different from what you want them to vote. That's what's going on here, BBO. I think it's a pretty good topic to cover. The fact that this broad, Tulsi Gabbard, has no integrity. One of the like defining images of Tulsi Gabbard is going to be her raiding the Fulton County Elections Office and taking all those ballots, and the broad is on the phone with Donald Trump while it's all going down. No honor. Like, all the crap they talk about, the standing up and having integrity for your country, she has none of it. And this is how she's going to be remembered. And then I bring this all up and circling back to her husband's lung cancer diagnosis and her resigning. She said it was because her husband has lung cancer. But no, it literally, what the Washington Post article says is, a few days before she announced her resigning, they contacted her for a comment on this story. And then her office said, oh, you're just being racist and you're discriminating against her religion. And then a couple days later, she resigns. So this broad knew that this story was going to be coming out. And she said, let me get the hell up out of here before this orange dude embarrasses me. Because the orange guy was probably saying, who's this brown bitch and your weird religion? I don't mess with the Hindus. I don't mess with the Hindus. Because BBO, matter of fact, BBO might be having a Hindu governor. I don't think he will, because the people of Ohio are pretty racist. The white folk, I mean. But you got Vivek Ramaswamy, BBO. Is he controlled by a cult? By one of these gurus? I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, all these people are pretty weird. But moving on from Tulsi Gabbard, the broad is what a broad is. I want to talk about Chud the Builder, aka Chud the Boy. Those of you who don't know who Chud the Builder, matter of fact, this is a better, this is what Chud is doing right now. Where is it? Well, either which way. Chud right now, Chud the Builder, for those of you who don't know who that is a streamer. Yeah, here we go. Chud the Builder, and that's his partner, Big Bubba. They're trying to have a baby, so, you know, wish them the best of luck. Chud the Builder is a far-right white supremacist who went around harassing black people and calling them the N-word and threatening them and saying, oh, and when the black people would get upset, he'd say, oh, you're chipping out. And when the black man would come to put hands on him, he would say, oh, I got this strap. You walk up on me, I'm going to shoot you. Well, Chud the Builder ran into the right one, and he shot a man in front of a courthouse. And right now, he's facing attempted murder charges. And while he's inside, and while he was doing all of this bullcrap, just before I touch on all that, while he was doing all that chipping out bullcrap and then walking up to gay couples and calling them the F word and telling them that trans people are weird and degenerates, you had people on the far right who are saying, oh, you see, black people are so emotional. It's just a word. So what if he calls you the N-word? Well, if I called your mother a whore and told her to wipe her mouth, I guarantee you wouldn't just be all cool and say, oh, well, you're just calling my mom a word. It doesn't have any power. I mean, so, but the problem is they think black people are pussy and they think black people shouldn't be able to do anything about it. Chud the Builder, since he has been inside for all this time facing his attempted murder charges, it has come out that Chud the Builder is an undercover fudge packer. Yeah, that's Chud the Builder right there when he was 18 years old. And you see him dressed in his Tinkerbell outfit. You see him right there with a choker around his neck like he's a bad bitch. And then he's got a wreath of flowers around his head. And he's got like some fairy wings and he's wearing a skirt. Yeah, that's Chud the Builder right there. We then come out to find out Chud the Builder used to get his fudge packed by a black woman. I shit you not. And here, we got the receipts on that.
I've always been Dalton, but I am a Chud.
Right. But you're not my Dalton. You used to come to my house. I fed you.
Yeah, you were cool as shit. I don't remember you that much, but I do remember I know you. See, we got roots.
You're following Liver King. You used to sell me weed. I fed you before.
It's been a long time.
Okay.
But I healed your stomach by teaching you how to eat real food.
Yes. So that's
what was your name again?
I'm Lana, but that's
Lana.
Why I'm confused. What happened to you? Because you're not racist. I know that. I fed you.
I have not fucked Dalton since like 2015. What's up, y'all? Lily Venus here, pretty bitch with a big dick. It's literally in my bio. I'm only bringing this up because Chud the Builder's cameraman put our conversation on Broadway on YouTube. Now millions of people know what I look like fresh off work. Fucking great. But in the caption it said that black woman who used to smoke mid and get raw dogged by Chud the Builder. Well, he's not lying. I already told y'all we used to smoke. He used to sell me weed. And we did raw dog. A lot. Me, him, and my ex-wife. I am a professional pegger. It is no secret that I perform prostate massages, if you will, for men. I've been doing it for a very long time now. Most of my clientele is white men. We sign NDA agreements. I talk about me pegging all the time, but I never tell you names because discretion is key. Confidentiality is why my client list is so long. But Chud mentioned it first. I think that he said it the way he said it because the white supremacists were probably like, ew, you used to hang out with a black girl, shame on you. So they had to make it sound good. But see, here's the thing. I'm an egregore too. Lily Venus, hi. Hail the great mother. So I am all about enlightenment, controversy, occultism, witchcraft, and of course, love. So me talking about this is what my brand is about. Let's expose it, bro. So yes, pretty bitch with a big dick. I have not fucked Dalton since like 2015. He was a little chubbier then. His cheeks used to clap in such like the cutest way. Now Chud He doesn't even have a little chubby butt no more, so I probably wouldn't fuck him again. But I'm wondering, did you bring that up because you want to spin the block? Now, when I first fucked him, he was a virgin, and I'm having a hunch that he probably hasn't been fucked since me and my ex-wife. We can start small, buddy. I got you, but you don't have to fucking...
So right there, Chud the Pug, Chud the Fairy, Chud the Boy. Matter of fact, I need to change this background because I need to change this background with Chud and Big Bubba, because I used to think that Chud would be what's the word? I thought Chud would be sad going to prison. He might be happy. Chud might be having the time of his life in there, getting packed out by Big Bubba, who's trying to have a baby with him. And it get like, can I really be shocked that so many of these right-wingers are getting exposed as a bunch of twinks and fudge packers and cream puffs? So many of them. Then we have Chud, who goes around calling gay couples, which, by the way, I want to make something clear. Marky Dan and the Democracy Briefing, I am an ally of the community. I am an ally of the community. I have 1,000% respect for everybody, and I believe that whatever you do in your bedroom is your business, and you should have the right to love whoever you decide you want to love, and you have a right to privacy. And I have a lot of respect for people who are homosexuals, who are open and who are courageous enough to not hide who they are. So I'll just say that. But when you got guys like Chud the Builder, who goes around calling gay couples in public the F word, and then he likes to get his fudge packed by black women, mind you, we gotta talk about these folks. We gotta talk about old Chud the Fairy, who used to like to wear dresses. And according to this lady, Miss Pretty, I think she called herself Pretty Bitch with a Dick, she popped Chud's cherry. This was happening back in 2018, or excuse me, 2015, when he was 18 years old, and he was probably still a virgin, and he got his cherry popped. And the story doesn't end here. It gets even more just wild and crazy. It has been exposed that Chud the Builder last year had a trans girlfriend. In other words, he had somebody that was born a male who's transitioning to becoming a female. This is Chud kissing up on the transmission. You cannot make this stuff up. This far right yeah, Jay Gibb. I mean, I'm just reporting the facts, Jay Gibb. This boy want to come out here. I don't support. Listen, God bless them, B3 Pick. They have the right to do whatever they want in their bedroom, same way you do. Nah, you came in on the exposing part, Jay Gibb. We exposing Chud the Boy, Mr. Chud the Boy, Mr. Far Right, soldier of the white race. But it's been exposed that Chud has had a trans girlfriend, and that he had sex with the lady. Excuse me. And here's the lady. Not only does the lady expose these pictures and say that they had sex, and I want to make clear, this lady has not fully transitioned. So she still has her male biological parts. She still has her eggplant. And she brought receipts that Chud is into dudes. And again, it's no problem if you want to be gay. But don't step out here and act like you some type of big bully, and you acting like, oh, gays are degenerates and they're disgusted. And then in the background, that's what you want to be doing, bro. Don't do that. But anyway, here's the video of the trans girlfriend exposing Chud and dropping all the receipts.
Yeah, so last year, May 2025, I Chud the Builder. Women and femboys, they're the only people who want to act feminine. He sent me these texts with his baby mama, who was Latina, months later after a date. She said, "Go live happily ever after with a dude. Get him, girl." And then he said, "Back in the day, when women were made to be feminine, that's when society was the best and the least gay shit occurred. Every time women get out of hand, go back to the Roman days and dudes who are more femme than their fat girlfriends are. Women are so manly, dudes would rather a femboy than come home to their GF. Bitches who act like dudes will call men gay for fucking femboys who are more feminine than they are." In quotes.
How dare you not want to come home and man with a pussy?
Sorry, babe, I'd rather fuck a girl with a dick than an N-word with a mid pussy like yours. Cry laughing emoji. My friend made a good point where she's like, "Yeah, bro, like you really owned your baby mama." I know it's like not base, like it's very misogynist. Just say you think it's hot, bro. Like, that's all. It's not really just how hot he was. Yo, look at this last selfie he sent me, actually, from a new faceless Grindr profile.
I'm gonna find it.
Look at this fucking picture. He's so hot. I had to go digging through the text to find it, and I knew I'd send it to my friend, but I fucking screamed when I saw what she had said. Like, Dalton started messaging me on Grindr again. She said, "LMAO, why the fuck is he pretty? If he wasn't like a future murderer, I'd be lit as fuck for you." Shout out my girl for being an oracle, I guess. I said that to her. She's like, "On God, I never miss."
And then I said,
Neither did Chud, unfortunately. We cuddled on my couch and made out. I've struggled finding a good word for what happened next, because I think like simulated sex, it's too vague, and frauding is too specific. But at some point, I put it between his thighs. Not his ass, unfortunately. We were like kissing.
Okay, I'm going right there. Oh my God. Did y'all hear the shit he said in those text messages to the mother of his child? This man, he said, dude, sleeping with women is gay. Oh my God. Where the fuck do you find people like this? I'll drop the link for you, B3 Fix. Man, I want to hear what B3 got to say. What do you mean I gotta grow up? This dude gotta stop being hateful and then doing what he's doing in the background. This man basically said, "Man, there's nothing gay about sucking a girl's penis. Not eating a girl's pussy. Now that shit is gay." You can't make this up. These people are confusion. They're like the devil. This man said it's not gay to fuck a femme. Hold on, my brother is in the background. B3 Fix, how you doing, my brother? How you doing?
I'm good, Mark. Man, you sick for pulling on these pervs, man. They literally done said that this chick is getting paid to sleep with white men. That's disgusting, bro.
It needs to be reported, though.
Nah, man, these niggas, bruh. This shit is sick, man. I came in here to hear about the Virgin Islands history.
You missed that part of the show, boy. You missed that part. We started early on that. I'll circle back to that in the end. I definitely will for all the people in the chat. But I just wanted
Mark,
to...
you the only black person that reports on whites. This is disgusting.
That's not true. Everybody's reporting on Chud the Builder. Stop capping. Every black person is reporting on Chud the Builder. Mr. Chimping out. Mr. Chimping out.
Man, listen, why they say chimp? Because it's a black shorty?
No, what Chud the Builder does is he goes up to, or what he did before he got arrested for attempted murder and is now sitting in a jail cell. He
Oh,
would go up to black people and to openly gay couples. He would call them the F word. He would go up to black people, call them the N word, and then when they would walk up to beat him up, he would say, "Oh, look, he's chimping out. He's chimping out." And then he would pull his gun and say, "If you do something, I'll shoot you." And now he's in prison, dealing with Big Bubba in the background. You see Big Bubba. The two of them are trying to have a child. So, like I said, B3 Pig, wish Chud and Big Bubba right there the best of luck. But I just find it
but that's what.
fascinating.
But see, Mark, that's what makes it pointless to even review this kid. Why? Who did he kill, or who did he unalive?
Well, he attempted to unalive a black veteran who was putting hands on him for calling him the N-word.
Well, but the dude's still alive.
Yeah, the dude is still alive. I think he's gained about like $300,000
That's what
of
I'm saying,
donations.
man. Y'all are sick in the head, man, for even reporting on this clown. What else is this dude known for?
That's pretty much it. Just being a racist clown that goes around harassing
Man.
black people and gay people.
Niggas don't even know who the president of the Virgin Islands is, man. This is nuts.
We have a governor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cause y'all under U.S. rule.
Hey.
Jump into it.
Sam, there's no.
Jump into this, you idiots. Jump into it. Aggressively. Aggressively.
Boss.
Aggressively.
Ah, my God.
Aggressively. Run into it. Stupid boy.
You better watch out. You're gonna jump into it a lot more times.
Hey man, listen.
Three picks.
It's July 4th, and
July 3rd.
July 4th weekend. I mean, once you off work, it's the weekend that started, bro. You know that.
It's still Emancipation Day down here. B3 picks the boy. But what I was going, but let me just finish reporting on it because I want to finish.
Wow.
I just find it hilarious because these type of guys are a dime a dozen. B3 picks. Literally, you can find so many of these right wingers who try to trash people in the community. Excuse me, in the LGBTQ community.
Where's this guy from, man?
I believe he's from. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he's from Tennessee, I believe. But you got people like Jake Lang who go around defending Chud the Builder and then burning LGBTQ flag. But either which way, I've cooked on Chud the Fudge Packer enough. Chud has gotten his karma. He's been exposed. He's been delegitimized. He's a fairy. He's a twink. And he's a coward. And him and Big Bubba, right there in the background, rubbing his hands, they're gonna have a beautiful life together. B3 picks. So I just wish them the best of luck with all of that.
I didn't need none of this information, Mark, but congratulations, man. You've corrupted another mind with this bullshit.
Reporting to the people.
Man, listen, this is a head case, man. He's literally paying to sleep with a black shorty. He paid her.
Nah, he's getting paid to get popped by a black shorty. It's a difference. I don't think there was any love making or sleeping going on.
Listen.
And from what the black lady said, it was her and his wife, and her wife, that were running trains on this dude. This is some of the craziest stuff
I've ever seen. He's a freak show, man. This is the weirdest person you've ever brought into my knowledge of being. I don't even know people like this. This nigga is the weirdest person you ever put into our purview. I mean, do you know a white boy like this? This is disgusting. Mark, you should be ashamed of yourself. We don't know people like this. It's sick to even know this.
Hey, listen, the guy is a popular.
She sounded the shorty sounded like literally a massage therapist. Like it's a business for her. Like she sounded almost like a nurse, like a CNA. She said she was providing prostate exams for men and predominantly white men.
Hey, I mean, B3 picks. Listen, you got dominatrixes out there. It's some men, and like I say, sexuality is a spectrum. It's not no either, like it's not no one of two options. You got some really, really weird people out there. Like I told you the other day, like the 2 girls, 1 cup girls. The weirdest of all the weird. People that want to play with poop. So I'm not surprised by nothing I hear, especially from guys. Because I just knew there was something like that. There was more underneath the surface with this dude. For him to be going out here so weird and just threatening black people and calling them the animal. But anyway, B3 Picks. Anything.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we're going to move
man.
on from Chuck.
Hey, listen, people like this, you got to pray for, man. Like, don't hesitate. This is why you stay prayed up, man. Because at the end of the day, it's some sick people out here, bro. These people, you know, this guy, he's antagonizing blacks. He's, you know, disrespecting Hispanics. And, I mean, he's not even, you know, he's just a guy that's trolling.
Has a child with a Latina lady.
Well, man, listen, he living a whole lot of lives.
I'm telling you, but we gonna leave Chud the Punk in the past. And then we're gonna move on. Before I give you a rendition of the Virgin Islands history of Emancipation Day, this is a topic I wanted to get into last week. I didn't have any time. There's this startup, and it ties back into a conversation we were having on Just Ask Juan B3 Picks about morality, about the sanctity of is surrogacy moral?
Yes.
What this is from the MIT Technology Review. They did some great investigative reporting, and they found that there are startup companies that are looking into cloning human beings. I shit you not. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be using those human beings that get cloned essentially as organ donors. And what they're going to be doing is, I don't know if you just heard about this, B3 Picks, but they've come out with a new type of technology that allows doctors to essentially edit the DNA of a fetus before they get too developed. So with that type of technology, they're talking about eliminating stuff like Down syndrome. Well, these doctors at this startup company, they're talking about editing the DNA of that cloned child, essentially to make the child essentially catatonic. So these people are talking about growing brain dead human beings and then using them as organ donors. And what makes it even more just crazy is there's no like artificial way to grow a human being. So this clone would have to be grown inside of a surrogate mother. So you would have to convince a mother to carry a brain dead child that was going to have its body parts and organs used by other rich people. And then it further goes on that they're discussing essentially ways to like transplant a human head or the head of a person onto that body so that they could continue their life in that body. Like, it's really sick stuff. And this, even though we haven't cloned a human being yet, they cloned a monkey back in 2018 in China, but that's like one of only 2 cases that where a monkey or rather a primate or something akin to a Homo sapien was cloned. We had the president of Russia and the president of China. They got caught on a hot mic, essentially talking about this exactly, saying that they were going to be growing human beings and taking their organs out of there. So I shit you not, but I wanted to have this conversation with AC, and I'm glad you're up here, so I could at least hear your thoughts on it. Do you think that there will ever be a point in time in which this type of stuff may be acceptable? Because we're already seeing weird stuff. I mean, surrogacy by itself is pretty weird. Even if you got stories in the Bible about the handmaiden, about Abraham, and I believe Ishmael's mother's name was what was her name? Rachel? That was the handmaiden that that Abraham's wife picked for him so that they could have a child. But all this stuff about in vitro fertilization, surrogacy,
Yeah.
I, I feel like it's pretty new stuff that you and other people are questioning the morality of it. The fact that a lot of these young women are being paid to do this stuff. But one day in the future, if they were to balance like the net gains of cloning brain dead human beings to harvest their organs, like that might save a lot of lives. Like all those people who have to wait on transplant lists for years to get a heart transplant or to get kidney and liver transplants, they could be saved, and that donor list can be cut in half. On top of the fact, it might unlock the keys to immortality if we could figure out how to transplant a human brain into that body. But I've talked for a long time. I think it's pretty weird. I think it's pretty sick. I'm not in favor of it. I think this is as immoral and satanic as it could get. But I want to hear your thoughts, B3P. What's your thoughts on cloning brain dead human beings to harvest their organs?
Hold on, Mark.
Yo.
Let me just say this. Abraham's first wife was Sarah.
Excuse me. Thank you.
But,
Thank you so much for correcting me. Yeah.
and Hagar was the one he had the child with.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me say this. Man, it's unfortunate. Like, I feel like, people need bread. So it's unfortunate. Like, a lady's only gonna do that because she's gonna get a few $1,000s out of it. I try to operate in the will of God to the best of my ability, but I'm thinking like, can I sell some sperm? Like, I mean, what do they need for this operation? But at the end of the day, like, I got to protect myself. You can't do everything for bread. Like, you can't do anything for bread. But I mean, some people, that's what the skill set that they have. Like I think Philip Rivers' wife, she had like 13 kids. So I mean, if a shorty, if she can get paid,
great.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a great ability to have.
Yeah, you're right.
So
She paid. She's paid. That's for sure. She's taken care of. Yeah.
right, but I'm just saying, and that's just a different situation. I'm saying that a woman's ability to, have children, like that's a commodity. So women love children, and like you're saying, they're doing um, all type of things. I'm thinking like technology is interesting, and like you got people that's looking to I guess recreate the world, but they got vision because you think about it, all of the cartoons, things that we've seen and animations in the past, or our robots, whatever, like that's just what it's coming to. That's I feel like it's a situation where, Mark, for the person that's alive perspective, it's unfortunate they have to do that for bread. The part about saving people, because like people harvest, these people are so sick that people like are looking to like harvest children and stuff like that already, human children, for organs to try to stay alive. So I mean, if you had an opportunity to
Let me ask you a question though. Let's say let's say you have a child, B3 Pigs. Let's say you have a daughter, she's an adult, and she unfortunately has heart disease and heart failure. And there's no donors around at all whatsoever. But this experimental company, they comes to you and they say, we have a way to get your daughter a heart. But it's gonna be coming from a human life, a brain dead human life at that. Would you accept that heart? Knowing that human being didn't. Oh, B3 Pix is back. Yeah. Would you accept that heart, B3 Pix, knowing that human being who is brain dead had no consent in that situation? Can you hear me, B3 Pix? I mean, but it's an interesting question though, BK Bay. What would you do? Hypothetically in the situation. B3 Pix, mic check. I don't know. I think it might be me. Let me go and come back. Can you hear me? Is B? Can you hear B3 Picks Vacay Bay? Because I can't hear him. Okay, B3 Picks is having some technical difficulties, but that's okay. To the chat or to J Gibb and to Vacay Bay says no, she would not take that heart transplant for her child, or that heart from for her child that was going through heart failure if it came from a human being that was not able to consent. What would you do, Jay Gibson? Would you accept a heart from a human being that was not able to consent? I think it's a really interesting question, and while on one side I find it disgusting that you would do that to a human being, B3 Picks, mic check.
Yeah, you doing it to a fetus though, Mark? Like it's not a human, is it? At that point, if it doesn't turn into a
what you said?
Like, for instance, it's a fetus, so they're reprogramming the fetus to essentially, not have life in it to harvest its organs, correct?
Yeah, to not have brain life, to not have any like experiences or anything. They'd be catatonic. They would be brain dead.
Man, we just hearing about stuff like these people, they got all type of facilities, Mark, man. This stuff it's sick, man. It's all type of stories that has happened before. This is not new. You just reporting on the real life current events, man. You doing a hell of a job, but stay away from them. Stay away from that other topic.
Absolutely. But to Choco Kitty and the cat, Choco Kitty said if the heart was presented to her, she would take it for her child that was going through heart failure. But she doesn't necessarily agree with the practice, which I find interesting. I don't want to make a comparison to slavery because, today's Emancipation Day, but hey, either which way, I wanted to ask you the question, B3P. I didn't get your answer. If your daughter, who is 18 years old, is going through heart failure, she needs a heart transplant, and the waiting list says she has to wait 5 years and she doesn't even have 1 month. And this experimental company that was growing these clones comes to you and says, we can get your daughter a heart, but it's going to be coming from a brain dead human being that doesn't have the ability to consent. Would you accept that heart?
Man, Mark,
I want to know.
Yes, I would accept that. I would accept that for my daughter, Mark. That's no question. If it's proven to have functionality and like a seamless transition, But I will also pray about it, man. That's a tough decision. I feel like them being brain dead makes the conversation kind of irrelevant. If that makes sense, like. We're not dealing with a human. We're dealing with, I don't understand. Like, is the body just going to come out dead? Like, you need a brain to live.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen is that clone would be brain dead, but at the same time, they would keep the clone on a ventilator, on a feeding tube for the rest of their life. So they would just be literally just tied down in a bed. Doing nothing. Just their body would be maturing with all the feeding and the nutrients, but they wouldn't be alive. They would be like paralyzed essentially. But what I like about yours and Choco Kitty's answer is, even though you acknowledge that yes, and I acknowledge also yes, the practice of doing it, creating brain dead human beings, is immoral. But you acknowledge the benefits of it, that it could save lives. And to Choco Kitty in the chat, what I mean when I brought up slavery is, you had a lot of white people at the time in the South who viewed slavery as immoral and disgusting. But at the same time, they also understood that slavery made them rich because they didn't have to pay for labor. You know, they got to get their cash crops like cotton. They got to have their universities constructed for free.
Correct.
And then they didn't have to pay nothing. They got to save all that money. But at the same time, they would acknowledge that, yeah, but slavery is pretty bad. And that's what I mean when you say you would take the heart, but you acknowledge that you don't agree with the practice.
Mm. But then the thing is, like you're saying, Mark, they're going to be able to clone people with a functional brain, and they're going to be working the jobs. You know, they're going to be laborers. You never know how it can go. I mean, it can go a lot of different ways. I don't fully believe that it's just going to be brain dead people. I think that's something cute to say. And maybe they'll have situations where they do, implement this practice. But I mean, these people are very, very smart, and man, we got to be careful. They gonna make some clones people that they're gonna have
That's
rights.
The scary part. You leave your DNA somewhere, yeah. You gotta be on the Drake side. You remember Drake put that hot sauce in that condom when the girl tried to take the condom? That's the type of timing you gotta be on.
Man, listen. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
And to Choco Kitty in the chat, I understand I understand the difference you're making when you consider. I'm just saying, I'm basically just comparing two things that we agree are immoral. But I understand what you are saying, that yes, a slave can always be freed. Whereas this brain dead person is always going to be brain dead and will not have the trauma or the experiences of having their organs taken, without their consent and being killed without their consent. And then what do you do with the body? You just dump it? It's a lot of questions I have around this practice, but this is questions for the future, man. And, we already got this AI stuff coming up. We already got the robots that are going to be taking over. But go ahead.
Yeah, I like what you're doing, but, man, this graphic right now we're looking at is sick.
Sorry, I should have changed the background a long time ago. I don't know why. Hold on a second. My bad. Yeah, get off Chud and his husband, Bubba. Cool. Yeah, they're trying to have their own child. Like I always say, wish them the best of luck. But we got Choco Kitty. Choco Kitty. How you doing, Choco Kitty?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. You wanted to give some more thoughts on the cloning?
Yes. Happy Emancipation Day.
Thank you so much, Queen.
What the difference on it's not well, I see what you're saying. You're saying as far as two of the things being immoral, but acknowledging the benefits. That's not really exactly what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is so let's just say I don't think that a person should be produced for that purpose, that's twisted. But what I'm saying is, if your child's life is on the line and that person is already here, so what is going to be gained by you saying no? I mean, the only thing you could maybe gain is disincentivizing the practice in the future. But I mean, the being that was created is already here. You see what I mean? So that's kind of the same, I guess, argument with okay, well, let's just say if you're a vegetarian or something like that, and okay, well, the burger is already there, so you eating the burger isn't going to kill the animal. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like that. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I don't believe that that's a practice that should be happening at all, or should be began or continue. But I'm saying if the brain dead being is already there, that's. You could say that the difference of the distinction is dubious for sure, but that would make a difference to me. But no, I wouldn't sign off on this. I wouldn't vote for this. But I mean, a brain dead body is always just going to be a brain dead body.
I 1,000% hear what you're saying. And you make a good point about the fact that it would be futile to just like stand on that principle and then let your child die. So I get what you're saying 1,000%. And these are questions, like I said, we're gonna be talking about it more and more in the future as these people, because these are pretty shadowy startup groups that are doing this research and are trying to see if they can clone more apes, and then they're gonna move on to cloning human beings. And we're gonna see what comes out of it. And even though I think it's really twisted, I mean, this could have great benefits. I mean, this could be the key to unlocking immortality, which, just being honest with you, I think immortality by itself would be immoral, because I think like I think that all living beings have a time and a place, and I think that death, while it might be sad and traumatic for some people, it's natural. It's what's supposed to happen. And then when we look at this orange guy, I don't want this guy to live forever. Like, if it's one thing I could be happy and assured of, is that the orange guy is going to die one day. I don't want him transplanting his brain, which is probably already putting to another body, or getting new organs while the current ones are failing. So,
Would you want a heart, Mark? If you was sick, would you take one of the hearts?
I believe I would. I wouldn't stand on the principle. I just have to be honest. I would. And it might be freaky, like, especially because imagine in the future, what they might start doing is they might start taking, like, around when males or women hit puberty, what they'll start doing is they'll take that child's DNA, their semen, or the young girl's egg, and then they'll transplant it, or they'll in vitro fertilize it to create the clones later. And then that clone will essentially be like on standby. So this might become like the new normal practice in the future. But yeah, if I was about to die and I couldn't breathe because I need a new heart, absolutely, I would take that heart from that brain dead human being. Absolutely.
I
and that would
think
just be what it is.
one of the issues people see with things like this, besides, like consent and all that, and personhood, is the issue that like only certain people would be able to afford this, and I think I'm not sure like exactly how to put it into words, but basically like there are some things that you can buy throughout life, but like life itself is not supposed to be one of the things that you can buy, which is why it's illegal to sell organs, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's another issue. It's kind of like you're trying to put people on two different tiers of existence,
Yeah, and my whole outlook on it is, if they would give away a portion of them, like let's say for instance, if they just had hospital stocks, it's still immoral. I feel like the practice of it, if you had to see it, it probably disgust you. Like, damn, it's happening to this many people. But if the benefits is that, you increase like life expectancy, if it's that type of operation, that would be a large scope.
Now, let me ask
But
you a question,
I think
B3
it's
Picks.
a benefit for sure.
Let me ask you a question, Choco Kitty and B3 Picks, because that brain dead person is still a human being. Now, let's say we get all these benefits from it, the fact that it would save lives, having these standby organ donors. But at the same time, if you wanted to achieve this practice, you would have to repeal the 13th Amendment, which for those of you in the chat who don't know, that's the amendment that ended slavery. That's the amendment that says a human being cannot be owned as property. Would you, if this thing could save literally 100 million lives in a year, this new practice, or okay, maybe I'm overdoing with that, but let's say 100,000 people will be saved in a year, and then over a decade, that would be 1 million people will be saved by this new practice. would you want that 13th Amendment to get I say edited or repealed? Would you be okay with that?
I don't
Hell
think
no,
that would
Because
be
Mark.
because
Knock it
it
necessary.
off. Yeah,
it
Mark,
goes
that's
to this
knock it
conversation
off.
about principles and what we'll
If
allow and what we
hold
won't
on.
allow.
They literally unfortunately call blacks not human, or a fifth of a human. So this is kind of like disgusting, and we have clear conscience. We came from a different place, or our origin is from a different area than theirs. But somebody that's brain dead, how could you can't do this, Mark? It's just like in a simile to when they try to say gay issues is like the same as black issues or whatever. It's not. It's really not the same. So
Yeah. That's kind of what I was gonna say. I guess similar to what I was gonna say, which is that it depends on how you define like person, and I don't think that I think an argument could easily be made that the being that's not, it wouldn't count as a person morally.
I think you could probably make that, and that'd be an interesting oral argument before the Supreme Court. If that, because we already see cases where family members make
but hold on,
decisions.
Mark. I'm just letting you know we can any we don't want anything repealed that I know of. But if we gonna repeal anything, it damn sure not gonna be the 13th Amendment.
I agree.
That's just the niggas gonna go be like, hold on. Everybody gonna just go ahead and start bearing arms at that point.
But
Because
would you be
yeah,
okay with a clause being added to it,
don't even
specifically
touch
to
it,
carve out
man.
for
Be
these brain
smarter.
dead
Be
individuals?
smarter. Just be smarter. Like do something else. I mean, just figure it out. Like
We talking about
from
saving
a.
lives,
I'm
B36.
just talking about like the Supreme Court, man. You talking about these guys is like damn your geniuses, man. They could figure it out. They don't need to deal with no. Come on, man, knock it off. They don't need to deal with the 13th Amendment on this. Or I look at it like just classify it as somebody that's not a human. It's just that simple. And then review the science on it. It got to make sense, but don't try to. That's where it gets dicey. It'd be like how you was talking about a lot of the like the how to what certain people do with clones and just let me say some people have like I used to always have like dolls and stuff like that, right? And that's like a porn fetish type of thing. So
Whoa.
we've always seen, no, we just talking real. Like we always seen on movies and stuff how they had the robots look like women. You just
True.
talked about a guy that literally he wouldn't have. Why would he do all of that if he could just have a clone chick? Why would he deal with these chicks that can really go off on him? You know what I'm saying, or tell his business, tell his personal life. So I mean, don't think it's not going to be some form of like extension to whatever they're doing, where they have people that's actually like cognizant. So I mean, we just got to see. Like, it's kind of fascinating when you look at it from that perspective. Like, I don't take people for face value, or they just going to do one thing, So in that sense, I would probably like lean on. I mean, I don't want to be against progress. I don't want to be against science, but
Saving lives.
yeah, saving lives. But then you just got, it's just a lot of gray areas. They need to have oversight, They need to have people that, like a committee that can kind of, but people gonna do what they do, So it's gonna be interesting to see how it will play out. But it's a lot of money in it. But I just wanted to be a point where the government will have to say, okay, if you're an entity or a corporation that deals in this practice, you will have to donate, a certain amount of organs or different organs. Like it had to be like, our insurance need to be better. Everything need to be better if we doing if we having clone body parts.
Yeah.
So they need to
We
make it like a machine. That's the only way it makes
we
sense
getting
to
into
me.
the flesh. I mean, this is literally flesh trade.
Yeah, I don't think
You,
it's
you,
gonna happen. I don't. Just because like you're gonna run into the fact that you're creating life for somebody else's benefit. You're not its own benefit. Um, yeah, I think that's one of them. That's the biggest issue, I think. And then as far as like giving people an opportunity to buy a longer life, that's the other issue.
Yeah.
I give you all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really interesting topic. I'm glad. I want you to come up more, Choco Kitty. You sound so intelligent. And I promise I won't have any more. This is gonna be the last time I talk about Chud the Punk, Chud the Fairy. This is the last time I'm gonna talk about that queer. God bless him. He's
Well,
gonna be
yeah, you got. There's
dead
a
and
lot more to talk
buried.
about.
Yeah.
Shout
But
out to
he's gonna be
NGB.
dead and buried from now on. Yeah, that's the last time I'm bringing him up. I just wanted to put the knife in him once and for all. But before I get out of here, I'm gonna just give y'all a brief synopsis of what today means, what Emancipation Day means in the Virgin Islands. So on this day, over I believe all the way back in 1840. You have right here on the screen Moses Gottlieb, also known as General Butthole. Though, General Butthole, he was a sugar boiler. So you got the boys that go out in the field, they cut the sugar cane, and then they load it up into the sugar mills, and then you have the sugar boiler that goes through processing the cane and turning it into molasses and brown sugar. That was who Moses. That's who General Buttle was. General Buttle on July 2nd, 1840, went from plantation to plantation. Went from Estate Lagrange to Kings Hill to Judith Fancy to Mount Welcome, all over St. Croix, and he organized a resistance. And they led a bloodless revolt. And on the day of July the 2nd, he went from plantation to plantation blowing a conch shell. Let me see if I can get that. Here it is. This is a statue we have in downtown Frederiksted on the west side of the island. Butto went from town to town, estate to estate, blowing his conch shell, and gathered 10,000 black slaves, who were the vast majority on the island at that time. And they marched all the way to Fort Frederick, where Governor Peter von Scholten was at the time, and they forced him to end the practices of slavery once and for all. Butthole, for his actions, would later be arrested and he would be exiled. He would be sent to Trinidad, where he would then later leave, and nobody really knows what happens to him after that. Some people say he went to New York to join a group of abolitionists in the States, but obviously this was 20 years before the Civil War. Some people say he died in Grenada. Nobody knows, but in the Virgin Islands, he is an absolute living legend. But taking on the colonial overlords and winning absolute strategic victory for his people. Now, this would not be the end of slavery. This would not be the end of it, because they would come back, the Danish colonizers would come back with a new practice, which would be, they would pay them like,
Mark, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go out and come back in. You breaking up.
One second.
They getting said he was the island Django. Yeah, the Caribbean Nat Turner. Yeah, that was fire, man. Marky need to talk more about this type of history, man. Present day history, that ain't even history. It's just.
Mic check.
Yeah, you clear now.
You see how when I was talking about Chud the Punk and all his activities, my mic wasn't breaking up. I talk about a freedom fighter for black people. You see what happens?
Correct.
Now you get to play B3 picks. I'm just trying to
Listen.
tell you. I'm just trying to tell you. But either which way, I was just explaining. The Danish, they came back with a new practice where they would pay you like 5 cents a day for laboring like literally 18 hours a day in the hot St. Croix sun. You would have to sleep in a little shack, and then they would be like, well, you got some freedom of movement, because once every year they had what was called contract day, where a plantation worker, they could go and negotiate a new contract with a new plantation. And that practice went on for 40 years. Up until it went on for 50 years, up until the 1890s. And obviously you had the plantation class who were in cahoots. They were saying, well, let's just all agree we're only gonna pay these blacks 50 cents a day. So I mean, we're really not paying, we're not really hurting our profit margin that much. And there was no really like economic freedom. Then we had Mary Thomas, aka Queen Mary. Look her up. Was a revolutionary. This is somebody like a Queen Agnes, or like Mr. Toussaint from Haiti, who had his own revolution. She gathered a force of rebels who chased the Danish soldiers into Fort Frederick, and they burned down Frederickstead town. And they burned over 50 plantations. And they kept marching east until they were stopped and defeated by Danish reinforcements. But that event is what ended slavery once and for all. And then we had different individuals like David Hamilton Jackson, who came out with the St. Croix Sugarcane Union, which got us more economic freedom as black people. But I just wanted to say all of that. This is such an important day for me, and I'm glad I could share it with you, Chaco Kitty, and you B3 Picks, and everybody in the chat. I really appreciate y'all for pulling up for Emancipation Day to honor General Butto and my ancestors. Any thoughts before I close it down? And any thoughts on July 4th? What are y'all gonna be doing tomorrow? Let me know.
Nothing.
You ain't gonna look at no fireworks? You ain't gonna go to no
No,
barbecue?
I don't acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I respect it. B3 Picks, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging with the fam, really, and watching the boxing matches tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Abdullah, Albert Bell, everybody in Cleveland.
Absolutely. Shout out to those people. And we got STM Brothers that's going to be at the fight. Check them out. BBO Boxing TV Sports. What I'll say about the 4th of July, and I hear Chaco Kitty's sentiment absolutely, because black people were instrumental in the revolution, in the American Revolution. And as a matter of fact, the first casualty of the American Revolution was a black man. He was the first casualty of the Boston Massacre. And then after the war, and they created their constitution, they said black people were 3/5 of a human being. So I get 1,000% where Chaco Kitty is talking about. This is, but at the same time, them creating this, I'm not gonna call it. It wasn't a liberal democracy at the time, but them creating the American experiment eventually led to the abolition of slavery. And it eventually led to Jim Crow being ended. And more and more and more, we see progress, more progress. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But we're going to have to keep progressing. We can't, you know what I'm saying? We can't get discouraged by the orange piece of crap in the office. We have to keep our chins up. We have to remember the ancestors that we came from, who fought for these rights to speak up and to speak out, who fought for the rights for us to vote, for us to live in good communities. And we have to keep persevering through it. But I appreciate you, Choco Kitty. I appreciate you so much, Queen. And I'm glad I got your perspective on that as a woman on that issue about the cloning and, carrying that child. And my brother B3 Picks, a.k.a. Bradley, who came from a private school, whose parents had a real good marriage. I appreciate you so much, my brother.
Mark, you a nut.
I'm a fact-speaking nut.
Yeah, don't forget the Too Savvy Superstar. Catch me on TikTok. Man, we over 10K. We building. Mark, hell of a show, man. But you got to stay away from the all of the white content, man. They're sick people, man. Some of it's
this is really funny because Choco Kitty, this guy B3 Picks on his TikTok channel has taxi confessions. Taxi confessions.
Mark, you would depict it as such. That's nasty work. All of these shorties, no, this is what you came up with. I haven't heard anybody call it that. But with taxi confessions, if you didn't know, a lot of these shorties was, in that line of work, Mark. So you're doing too much. But it's definitely, well, I guess Vay may agree with you. Hold on, let's see what Vay say. Because I had a shorty, she was, TikTok, bro. Like I was saying earlier, like a person like, I don't know, I forgot the Chud dude that you was talking about, the white lady he was messing with.
Yeah,
she would make good money on TikTok. I'm sure if she's like still around kicking it, she's probably making money on TikTok. TikTok is definitely where anybody and everybody can have a room. Like it'd be like 300, 400, 500 people in there watching all type of people. So with me, I'm gonna talk to the ladies, and man, check me out on Too Savvy Superstar. And
absolutely.
Mark, it's a nice place to be.
Absolutely. I gotta pull up over there. So I'll definitely check it out. Too Savvy Superstar. Check out my brother B3 Picks. Once again, Choco Kitty. Oh, my brother Prize Fighter came through late. I also see my brother Aircraft Carrier. Thank you so much for coming through, Aircraft. Appreciate everybody that came through. I'm gonna end this stream off by playing Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, General Butthole. One of the great commemorations to our territory's history. But take it easy. Have a great, great weekend. Please stay safe on the 4th.
All right,
Much
bye.
love.
General Bodo and the slaves them coming. Freedom is what they shouting. Cross the bridge, they drum them beating. The whole land outside, I could hear them coming. So long in slavery, so long control me. Take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, get slavery out of the way. Baden, Peteress and Princess, Kingsley, Bethlehem and Oakland, Coble, Chelsea and Boone. They banded together to reach Western before noon. So long in slavery, so long control me. Take away my dignity, my it's all clear, emancipation here, get slavery out of the way. Fed up and they're frustrated. It's high time that this slavery done with. Tired and suffering, they plan to do something like fire and brimstone, man, see how they imagine. So long in slavery, so long control me, take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation here, we get slavery out of the way. With machete, lantern and bow stick, they come in to put an end to the bullwhip. They might make up, enough is enough. They come in to call one shot to take love. So long in slavery, so long control me, take away my dignity, my friends and my family. Now that it's all clear, emancipation's